So, a very good morning, student. Myself, Ankur Kumar, working as an assistant professor in the Department of the Civil Engineering in Buddha Institute of Technology, Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. This college is affiliated to AKTU with AKTU code 525. First of all, I hope you all are doing good in this corona pandemic. As we know that due to this corona pandemic and this entire lockdown which is going in the entire country, all the colleges, all the schools are not working properly and they are not functioning these days, and we are bound to take the classes through video lectures. But we know that we have to not stop the learning. This pandemic cannot hinder our learning process. So, in spite of blackboard and that classroom, now the solution is that we have to deliver the lectures to all of you using this video platform. So today we are going to start a video lecture series on the topic that is railways, airport and waterways. Now this course, railways, airport and waterways, is basically designed for all the civil engineering department students of final year students, for the AKTU students affiliated, all the colleges affiliated to AKTU, that is APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. So our next semester, that is which is going to be started from the August, and as we know that due to the lockdown and due to this new guideline, we have to take the classes through this video platform only. So in order to cope with all the difficulties, I have came with a solution that I will be delivering all the lectures of this particular course, that is railways, airport and waterways, which has a code of RCE 076, and this course is basically designed for the final year students of the civil engineering department, right? So first of all, I welcome you all, and in this course, in this video lecture series, I will be delivering the entire syllabus by module wise. So this entire railways, airport and waterways is basically categorized into 5 different modules, right? So railways, airport and waterways, when we abbreviate it, that is raw, when we abbreviate it, that is railways, airport and waterways. Okay, so this is the subject which is bearing a code of RCE 076, right? Now what I have done is I have divided it into 5 different modules, right? So the syllabus, when we talk about the syllabus, it goes like this: the introduction part, then the second module will be railway geometric design, then the third module will be about stations and yards, then the fourth module will be about airport engineering, and the fifth module will be about harbor and docks engineering, right? So in this entire in this entire course, in this entire video lecture series, we will basically focus on these 5 different modules, okay? And this different 5 module will be delivered to you in different lectures. For example, today we have the lecture number 1, right? And tomorrow we will look towards the lecture number 2, and this lecture 1 to lecture 10 will be of the module 1. In the same way, from lecture 11 to lecture 10, that will be of module 2. It means each module has been divided into 10 different lectures, right? Now coming to the textbooks, which I will refer to all the students out there. The textbooks are for railway engineering. It is the standard book is by Saxena and Arora. Airport engineering by Rangwala, and harbor, docks and tunnel engineering by R.C. Nivasan. So we can see that this entire course consists of 3 different streams, that is three different streams of the transportation, that is railways, airport, and docks, harbors, and engineering. Okay, and these three different subjects will be delivered to you through three different books. Okay, so the books which I am using for preparing my lecture and my content is basically Railway Engineering by Saxena and Aurora, Airport Engineering by Ranwala, and Harbor Docks and Tunnel Engineering by R. Srinivasan. So this lecture will be about the development and the organization of the Indian Railways. Okay, and the content of this lecture will goes like this: the introduction part, then advantages of railways, then development of Indian Railways, then organization of railways, then railway board, modern trends in railways, and the last one will be the technical terms. Okay, we'll look towards the content one by one. So we'll start this lecture with a welcome note. I once again welcome you all. So we'll start this lecture with the introduction part. And this entire lecture one is about the development of railways and organization of the railway. It means we'll start from the scratch. Okay, so we'll start from the initial point. Okay, so before uh, starting this entire module, the first thing which comes in our mind is about the transportation. Okay, because these all are counted under transportation engineering, right? Transportation engineering, whether it's highway, whether it's railways, whether it's airport, whether it's harbors and tunnel engineering, these are counted under the topic that is known as transportation engineering. Okay, now the question is that, my dear student, that what is the use of this transportation engineering? How it can be regarded as one of the parameter to measure the economic, social, and commercial progress of the country. So, see, if we talk about the transportation, so transportation is basically the backbone of any economy. Okay, you can say it is an index which measures the economic, social, and commercial progress of the country. It means a country with a smooth and efficient transportation development has a good economic, social, and commercial progress, right? Because what transportation part do, it just it just link that gap between the two countries, and the economic, social, and commercial aspects of the country basically depends on this transportation engineering. Now the thing which comes in our mind is, what are the different modes of the transportation engineering, right? So if we talk about the different modes of the transportation engineering, it will be land transport, water transport, and air transport. Okay, now we can define this modes of transportation into three parts, that is land transport, water transport, and air transport. Now we can see that when we come to the land transport, there are two major means of the land transport. What are those? Those are the roads and railways. Okay, so about roads, we have actually been taught in the third year of our engineering stream in civil engineering department. In third year students are being taught about the roads under the topic highway engineering, right? Now this is actually comes under the transportation engineering second, and we'll talk about the railway engineering. And this roads and railway, both of them comes under the topic that is land transportation, right? Now the question is that, what are the advantages of it? Okay, we know that this comes under the land transport, both, whether it's railways, whether it's roadways, right? Now, what are the different advantages of railways which can overcome the roadways? Why there is need of this railways in spite of this roadways, right? So what I have done is I have divided these advantages into different categories. Okay, and it actually starts like this. The first advantage, what I have categorized for you all, is political advantage, right? So what are the political advantages? Okay, see, if we'll talk about politically how it is an advantageous for everybody. So politically, it what it does, it it joins different caste, religions, customs, and tradition. Okay, so what railway do is it simply joins all the people of different caste, of the different religions, customs, and tradition. And with the adequate network of railway central administration, it has become easy and effective. So the effective way to bridge that gap between the different castes, different regions, different customs, and different tradition, it is railway. Okay, role of railway during emergencies in mobilizing the troops and wars equipment has been very significant. Whenever the war starts, okay, whenever the war starts between two different nations, for example, just take an example of India and Pakistan. When the war started in Kargil, okay, in 1999, then the first thing we want is the this movement and mobilization of the troops and wars. Okay, during war, okay, troops and this equipment. Okay, and railway railway is playing a vital role in mobilizing these troops and equipment from one place to other place at a time of this kind of war and this kind of pandemic. Okay, uh, railway have also helped a mass of people in migration. Okay, when people start migrating, what they do, they just switch to railway. Okay, because it is the one of the easiest and one of the effective way for the mode of the transportation, right? So this was all about the political advantages. Now, apart from the political advantage, the second we can have is social advantage. Now, what is social advantages? Now, when coming to the social advantages, whenever we feel isolated, I mean to say that feeling of isolation has been removed from the inhabitants of the Indian villages. So because before independence and before the 1854, because the first railway was started in 1854. So what was the problem? The major problem was that these remote areas, these villages of our country, okay, which are the heart and the soul of our country, actually they were feeling just they have been isolated to the some places, right? So now this isolation part has been removed. Okay, this isolation parts among the inhabitants have been removed. Okay, the social outlook of the masses has been broadened through the railway journey, right? Now whenever you will whenever you will migrate from one part of the country to the other part of the country, there will be intermingling of the society. As soon as there is an intermingling of the society, then there will be social outlook of the masses will be also broadened. It will broaden. It will be changed, right? Because they will come into contact with so many people. Okay, so socially we will intermingle with each and every society, right? And railway has also made it easier to reach religious importance. We know that India is a country of the religious importance. So here the religious importance plays a vital role. The people from different castes, different religion, different creed are here. And what it has done, it has bridged that gap between those religious sentiments. Okay, now we all know that across the country there are various religious important people places, and what it has done is that it has communicated all the people, and it has been able to migrate these people from their home to these religious important places, whether it's Vaishno Devi, whether it's including the Char Dham, anything. So only railway plays a vital role in this type of the scenario. Okay. Now it also provides the safe and convenient mode of transport for the country. Okay. When we'll talk about the safe in terms of safety and convenience, then railway is regarded as one of the convenient and the safest mode of transport among the land, water, air, right? Now, this was the social. Now, the third one is economic advantages. Okay. Now, what are the economic advantages? If we'll talk about the economic advantages, then the mobility of the people has increased, right? Transport, food, and clothes during famines. Okay. Transport the raw material to the industries. Okay. Now, uh, you will say that how we can link it to the economy. Okay. Now, we know that if there is any industry across the country, then it needs the raw material, and the raw material has to be transported from the source place to the industry place where the industry has been established. So, what what railways has done, it has what effective way to transport these food, clothes, as well as the raw material to the industry. And when there will be the smooth functioning of the industry, we all know that the economy of the country will boost up. Okay, it also provide employment to the millions of people, as you'll not be surprised to know that 3 lakhs of the people actually across our nation works in this railway organization. It is one of the largest public sector organization of our country. A mammoth of the employees have been employed. So what it has done, it has given the employment to many of the Indians. Okay. And price stabilization is also possible when we'll talk about the economic advantages, as well as the land values increase due to the industrial development. As we know that when there will be the development of industries, there will be the employment, and there will also the value of the land will also be increased. Okay, so undoubtedly, collectively, and submissively, these all are contributing in the advantage part in the economic aspect of our country, right? Now, what I have done is I have categorized one more category, one under the advantages, and that is the techno-economic advantages. Now, what are the techno-economic advantages? The first one is cost saving in transportation of long haul bulk traffic. Okay, energy efficient. We will talk about energy efficiency. 1 by 7 fuel used as compared to the road sector. Okay, it has been estimated that uh, in the railways it has cut down the use of the energy. How? Because the fuel which is used in the road sector, it is 1 by 7th of that sector. In railways, 1/7 of the fuel is being utilized or used for the same distance to be covered, right? So what railways has done, it is categorized under the energy efficient category. Okay, and the third one is environment friendly, and the fourth one is higher safety. Fatal accident, 1 out of 10 of the road sector in India. We know that many road accidents takes place in our country, and many of the life are gone in that fatal accident. But when we come to this railway accident, it is just minimal. You can say 1 out of 10. Okay, so we can categorize these advantages under the techno-economic advantages. Okay, now we have two departments under the land transport, that is rail transport and the road transport. So land transport is basically categorized into two types, that is rail transport and road transport. What I have done, I have figured out the different comparisons among the rail transport and the road transport under the different features categories. Okay, so the first feature is tractive resistance. When we'll talk about the first feature, I have mentioned about the tractive resistance. Now you can see in the PPT which I have shared for all of you on the screen. Okay, in the rail transport, the movement of steel wheels on the steel rail has basic advantage of low rolling resistance. We know that the what happened is actually the wheels of the railways are actually made of these steel. Okay, and the movement of steel wheels, okay, on the steel rails has the advantages of low rolling resistance. So if there will be low rolling resistance, this will reduce the haulage cost because of low tractive resistance, right? So when we come to road transport, the tractive resistance due to a pneumatic tire on metal road is almost 5 times compared to that of wheel on rails, right? Because what happens there, we have the pneumatic tire, and here we have the steel rails on as well as the steel wheels. So when the steel wheels is rolling on that steel rails, then there will be low rolling resistance. But here what happened, when this pneumatic tire, these rolls on the metal road, then due to the tractive resistance, what happens is that there is the more cost of the haulage. Okay, so but in rail transport, this reduces the haulage cost because of the low tractive resistance. But here, the more the tractive resistance, the haulage cost will be more. So the first feature is related to the tractive resistance. Now, right of entry. What happened is that a railway track is defined, on two rails, okay, and is within protected limit. Okay, you have to travel on that particular rails only. Okay, it has been defined. It has been defined that this is your path. Okay, trains work as per prescribed schedule, and no other vehicle has the right of entry except at a specified level of the crossings. Okay, so it is all predefined. Okay, it means when a train is moving from Gorakhpur to Delhi, then there will no other trains will be allowed to enter on that path. Okay, and the schedule is basically defined also. So what happens due to this, there is then less chances of the accidents. But what happens in the road also though have well defined limit, but can be used by any vehicular traffic and even by pedestrian. They are open to all. But right of entry in the case of rail transport, it is not open to everyone. It is not open to everyone. But during road transport, it is open to everyone. If you are traveling on a road, anyone come on your way, even any animal, stray animal, any person with other vehicle can come to your path. Okay, but this is not the case with the rail transport, right? Now the cost analysis. Owing to the heavy infrastructure, the initial as well as the maintenance cost of railway line is always high, because the infrastructure is quite very heavy in case of rail transport. So the initial cost and as well as the maintenance cost, undoubtedly it will be larger than this road transport, because the cost of construction and maintenance of road is comparatively cheaper. Okay, when we'll talk about the gradients and curves, the gradients of railway tracks are flatter, normally not more than 1 in 100, and curves are limited up to only 10 degree on the broad gauge. So the maximum degree of the curve is 10 degree, which is for the broad gauge. Okay, and roads are constructed normally with a steeper gradient of up to 1 in 30 and relatively much sharper curve. But in case of rail transport, the gradients are flatter, normally not more than 1 in 100. Okay, and the curves are also limited up to 10 degree, but it can go up to 30 degree in the case of road transport. Okay, now the flexibility of the movement. Due to the defined routes and facilities required for the reception and dispatch of train, railway can be used only between the fixed point. Okay, there is no any flexibility. If the route has been defined between the Gorakhpur and Lucknow, you can travel between the Gorakhpur and Lucknow only. During that time, you can't travel from the Gorakhpur to Kolkata. Okay, but road transports have much more flexibility in movement, can provide door-to-door services. Okay, it means when you have to travel from Gorakhpur to Lucknow, you have to travel from the one station to the other station. But in case of road transport, if there is any flexibility required, you need to provide door-to-door services. You can provide the door-to-door services using the road transport. Okay. Now coming to the other point, that is the environmental pollution. Railway has minimum adverse effect on the environment. Okay. And road transport create comparatively greater pollution than the railways. Okay. We all know that the if the environment, from the environmental aspect, the railway has minimum adverse effects, whereas the road has greater pollution adverse effect. Now, organization and control. The railways are government undertaking with their own organization, whereas bearing member state government transport, road transport is managed by the private sector. Okay. Suitability. Railways are best suited for carrying heavy goods and large number of passengers over long distance. And road transport is best suited for carrying lighter goods and a smaller number of passengers over short distance. Okay, so this was basically a comparison between the rail transport and the road transport through various features, and those various features were as given as in the screen, that is tractive resistance, right of entry, cost analysis, gradients and curves, flexibility of movement, environmental pollution, organization and control, and suitability. Right. Now, we'll talk about the development of India, how this development took place actually. You know, in 19th century, before the introduction of railways, India was a country with extremely poor means of communication. Okay, we'll talk about the communication part. Okay, so before this 19th century, India was declared as a with a poor means of the communication. It was having a poor means of communication. But in 1844, the first proposal of the construction of railway on India was submitted to the East India Company. So the entire scenario actually started, this entire railways came into picture from the 1844. And in 1844, the proposal was submitted to East India Company, right? And in 1853, first railway line was opened, and that was between Bombay and Thane. Okay, so the first proposal was submitted in 1854, and the first railway line was opened in 1853, and between the two places, that was Bombay and the Thane, right? In 1905, Railway Board was established with one president and two members. So students, you have to be very careful with these, data, that in 1844, the proposal was submitted. In 1853, the railway line was opened and between Bombay and Thane. Okay, and the third one is in 1905, Railway Board was established with one president and two members. And in 1939, the total route of India in kilometer was 65,850. Okay, so when we talk about the development, it all started from 1844. Then in 1853, railway line was opened. In 1905, Railway Board was established, was constituted with one president and two members. And in 1939, finally, the route was about of 65,850 kilometers. So this entire organization, this entire development, we can divide into it into 9 different 5-year plans. Okay. Now we'll start with the first 5-year plan. First 5-year plan was actually a plan between a span of 1951 to 1956. Okay. So what are the significant features and what were the salient points of that first 5-year plan? I will mention in this lecture, and point wise I will mention salient points of each and every 5-year plans. Okay, so in first 5-year plans, which was between the 1951 to 1956, the first point was that out of the total planned expenditure of 2,378 crore, the railway were allotted 257 crore. Okay, so the annual budget of our country was 2,378 crore, and among that 257 crore was allotted for the railways, right? Rehabilitation of railway asset was the main objective. Okay, industries boosted up their locomotive production during these years, considerably helped India in achieving the self-sufficiency. So what are the salient points? The first is that 2,378 crores of rupees were allotted for the development of the entire nation, and 257 crore was allotted for the railway development. You know, rehabilitation was the main objective, and the locomotive production was the second objective. Okay, now coming to the second 5-year plan, which was spanning between 1956 and 1961. The second 5-year plan had a provision of 896 crore. Okay, in previous we looked at, it was 257 crore. Now it was, you know, increased to 896 crore for the development of Indian railways out of total expenditure of 4,800 crores. Okay, many new lines were opened and many new locomotives and coaches were placed online. You know, the industry was boosting very significantly in this phase. New lines were opened, new locomotives and new coaches were placed online on the railway line, and there was a considerable progress in the electrification of the railway. So the electrification of the railway, it all started in the 1956 and 1961 phase, that is categorized under the second 5-year plan. Okay, now the third one is third 5-year plan. Okay, the third 5-year plan actually comes under a span of 1961 to 1966. The second 5-year plan had a provision of 1,470 crores for the development of Indian railways out of total expenditure of rupees 7,500 crores. Okay, it started from 257 crores, then came to the 896 crore, then a significant leap was taken to 1,470 crores. It means the government was, you know, very focused about the development of this Indian railway in our country. This plan actually provided the acquisition of 270 new locomotives and 1,57,133 new wagons and 7,879 new coaching vehicles. So these are actually the important data which you have to take care about it, that in this plan 2,070 new locomotives were actually deployed, 1,57,133 new wagons were deployed, as well as 7,879 coaching vehicles were also deployed. There was a provision made for the electrification for about 2,400 route in kilometers. Okay, a length of 2,400 kilometers, new lines were also constructed. Okay, so this phase actually saw a significant achievement in the Indian railways, including the electrification as well as including the acquisition of different locomotives, wagons, and coaching vehicles. Okay. Now the fourth and fifth 5-year plan, actually the fourth 5-year plan was from 1969 to 1974, with the objective of the modernization of the railway. The major objective was now focused on the modernization of the railway and improving the operational efficiency of the system by more intense utilization, right? Now the fifth 5-year plan was actually between 1974 and 1978. Development of rapid transport system in metropolitan cities. A sum of 2,200 crores were allotted out of total of 39,300 crores. It means it has started from 257 crores from the first 5-year plan, and you can look in the fifth 5-year plan. Actually, the allocated budget was about 2,200 crores. Okay. Now, coming to the sixth five-year plan, it ranges between 1980 to 1985. The main objective was the limited resources of the railways should be used for rehabilitation of assets, and the stress was to use existing resources in best possible manner for getting high operation efficiency. So this sixth five-year plan actually ranges between 1980 to 1985, and the major objective was that the limited resources of the railways should be used for the rehabilitation of assets, and the stress was given to use the existing resources in best possible manner for getting the higher operating efficiency. Okay, now coming to this seventh five-year plan, 1985 to 1990, this provided an outlay of 12,334 crores. Okay, introduction of computer-based freight operation information system and computerization of passenger reservation. So students, this phase actually saw a tremendous improvement. Before this phase, there was no computerization of the passenger reservation, but in this phase, there was the computerization of the passenger reservation, as well as the augmentation of the capacity for manufacturing of passenger coaches, electrical multiple units, as well as the electric locomotive. Right. Now coming to the eighth five-year plan, again the outlay was about 27,202 crores, and this plan actually ranges between 1992 to 1997. Emphasis was given on the modernization of the system to reduce operating costs and to improve the reliability, and convert a length of 6,000 kilometers of meter gauge and narrow gauge tracks to the broad gauge. Before this, in our country, the entire length of railway line was confined to this meter gauge and narrow gauge. I will talk about this meter gauge and narrow gauge in my coming modules and the lectures, so you don't have to worry about it. But these are actually the technical terms, that is meter gauge, narrow gauge, broad gauge. So a length of about 6,000 kilometers of the broad gauge was converted during this eighth five-year plan, and the ninth five-year plan is actually a final five-year plan, which was ranging between 1997 to 2002. There was an outlay of 45,413 crores, that is 14.1% of the total plan. Generation of rail transport capacity to handle increased freight and passenger traffic, completion of the replacement, rehabilitation, and renewal of over aged assets, to continue with the policy of uni-gauge throughout the country. It means the country was now focused, this railway board was focused on a single gauge, that is the broad gauge. Okay, introduction of 4,000 horsepower diesel locomotives and 6,000 horsepower electro locomotives. So this was actually the different phases of the Indian Railway, which started from the 1951, from the first five-year plan to the ninth five-year plan, which ranges between 1997 to 2002. Okay. Now, the next topic is the organization of Indian Railway. I have talked about the different phases of Indian Railway. Now, organization of IR, that is organization of Indian Railway. Now, the first thing you have to know, that you have to understand it, that it is the one of the biggest public undertaking sector of our country. Capital charge of about 5,60,000 million. Okay, and the executive authority in connection with the administration of railway west with the central government, and the same has been delegated to the railway board as per Indian Railway Act 1890 and Indian Tramway Act of 1816. Okay, so it is one of the biggest public undertaking with a capital charge of about 5,60,000 million. Okay, and this entire authority comes under the central government, and it also comes under the railway board under the Indian Railway Act, that is 1890, and Indian Tramway Act of 1816. Okay, now we'll talk about the railway board actually. So railway board, what is actually railway board? Okay, so railway board exercises all the powers of central government in respect of regulation, construction, maintenance, and operation of railway. Okay, so it is a body which is used to regulate, construct, maintain, and operate the railway. It consists of a chairman, a financial commissioner, and 5 other functional members. Okay, the chairman reports to the minister for railway. So who is the authority of this entire railway? The first, from the central government point of view, it is the railway minister, and the chairman comes under this railway minister. Okay, so this chairman, who is he? He is actually the chairman of railway board, and this railway board actually comes under this ministry, railway ministry. Okay, the member of railway board are separately in charge of the matters related to staff, civil, electrical, mechanical, and traffic. Okay, now we'll talk about the next topic in the next slide. See, presently Indian Railway is divided into 17 different zones. Okay, so this railway boards come under Ministry of Railway, and who's the authority? Railway Minister. Okay, and who takes the authority of this railway board? It is the chairman of railway, and this railway board consists of chairman. Then under him it is financial commissioner, and then other 5 functional members. This is actually the protocol of the Indian Railways, and it is presently divided into 17 different zones. Each zone is actually administered by general manager, assisted by additional general manager and HOD of different discipline, namely civil engineering, mechanical, operating, commercial, accounts, security, signals, telecommunication, electrical, personal, medical, etc. Okay, so it starts like this: railway minister, then railway board, chairman of the railway board, financial officer, and 5 other different members. Then it has been divided into 17 different zones. Then who takes care of that 17 different zones? It is the general manager, who is assisted by additional general manager, and these additional general manager are assisted by the HODs of different discipline, that is civil engineering, mechanical, operating, commercial, etc. Zonal railway is further divided into 3 to 6 divisions. Okay, now this 17 zones are now divided into 3 to 6 divisions, and each division work under control of the divisional railway manager, that is DRM. Okay, now we'll talk about the other topic in the other slide.